Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Advancement Center, and welcome to our brand new friend, Jean. Glad you can make it. And thank you for joining me up here on this elevated platform of living, where your music and the world of magic and miracles live. It's the place where your perspective of everything is at a much higher vibration. Welcome to your world of magic and miracles. I call out to everyone as family, our family. By now, you must realize the importance of your presence as the charter members of this emerging industry of magic and miracles. Our advanced intelligence is opening our vision, giving us a higher perspective from which we can realize or make real and recognize or recognize ourselves, our surroundings, and to know that there is not just one reality. Each in our own world of magic and miracles recognizes what is real and what is just trying to make you believe something fake, like the news. Therefore, the illustration that accompanied your invitation is so perfect. Genya captured the photo and its multiple dimensions on Christmas Day through our picture window. Nothing is as it seems. And here it is. Can you see that? Oh, it's flipped. I've been watching it the other way. Okay, that is the scene through the picture window, and that fantastic yolk in the middle of the aloe plant is the lamp in our living room. So if I didn't tell you that, I don't think anyone would get it. So therefore, nothing is as it seems. Now, just yesterday morning, Robert answered a few of my questions pertaining to the various functions that we all take for granted. Okay, it's blowing a little bit today. The brain takes care of the body, the form. The mind is what you take out and play with, experiment with, and sometimes live a life far from your authentic self. A baby is pure heart and so much more. The perfect example of infinite trust. A Down syndrome child just lives life without obscuring or covering their heart. Infinite trust always exists and gets covered over by the system. Infinite trust is always accessible if you're game enough to get past all the reasons, thought systems, and filters put in place by you as a result of perhaps an isolated incident or two. Past filters put up around a person years ago remain in place because you take them down, realizing that you did it. Whole families have experienced this from generation to generation without ever reaching a clearing complete with true relationships. Now, awakening and accessing our own personal supercomputer, we find that we are rising above the same distractions that used to take us off course, facing our filters and eliminating them without explanation and analysis. This leads us back to a much brighter and happier life with simplicity and with our majestic being at the helm. All freedom lies in your magnificence, and there's no need to be concerned about finding anything. Freedom lies in your immense presence. And once you are aware of this, you can expand past all other things to find your spirit bouncing around, waiting to play. The requirements of society simply fall into the background and are completed with very little focus at all. And of course, no filters. Robert's words acknowledge our inner knowingness. This allows the shedding of layer upon layer of false filters and beliefs that have been formed by circumstance that are no longer a part of your reality. We must honor the magic of life, each other, and ourselves. Look ahead and listen to the future as you live a life of magic and miracles in the totally random fields of the earth and its celestial partners. The dance and the music will take you away from the troubled world and hold you there forever. You have stepped into the new flow, and there is a totally new perspective of life itself waiting to welcome you to the next reality of the application of magic and miracles in the physical world. The power of each and every human entity will increase enormously in a very short period of time, and the presence of advanced intelligence will be met by this power to enable the world to rise above all negativity and develop a harmony that has never been known before. No rules, no methods, and everything works every time. All this and much more will be your companion as you step forward and open more and more channels into the unknown. I have to pin these down a little bit. You see us blowing. Okay, here we go. Put down there. All right, here we are. It's funny, I just wrote to myself, long pause. I didn't know it was going to be windy. Now, there's no need for you to change anything, but there is a need for you to observe the change so that it may be solid in physical reality. Every person will experience this change, and each one will observe something different that will add to the matrix and develop the complex reality necessary to provide simplicity in everyone's life. Relax and enjoy the calmness of the flow as it massages your body and allows you to perform perfectly in your role in the physical world. And now for some good news. And the good news is Swisindo. As promised, here is the weekly update from UN Swisindo, a clear route out of the debt slavery system. Now, we all know about Honorable Apak, or we call him M1. He is the single trustee and holder of the global assets and collateral accounts. He has engaged in this mission to return to humanity what was stolen from us: freedom, prosperity, and equality for all nations and people of the planet through payments 1 through 11. And this is a program for every man, woman, and child in 357 countries worldwide. And I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Make sure this doesn't. Okay, here we go. Now, I know that most of you know this information backwards and forwards and have been telling your friends and family about the good news. But for those who are joining us for the first time, welcome. And now I will tell you, I recommend checking out 2 websites, Swisindo.news, where you will download your M1 voucher. Remember, M1 is Honorable BAPAC. And this is what it looks like. Stay there. Okay, here it is. You've seen this before, but this is new for Jean and for Debbie. You can't miss it. When you go to that website, right in front of you, it says download M1 voucher. So you'll download it, print it, put your passport picture in here, and your thumbprint on the lower right corner, and of course attach it with some Gorilla Glue and put it in a safe place. And I will let you know when it's time, and you will take this voucher to your bank. Now we have to wake up the banks. Okay. And if you scroll further down on that website, you will download your DBLC, which stands for Debt Burden Liberation Certificate. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. And you don't have to download the one that's in Indonesian. This is in English. And it looks like that. And you'll put that away in a safe place. And we'll keep you posted on the next move that you should make. Now, what is this payment 1 through 11? Well, the first one is the obligation to all humans. And believe it or not, $6 million is set aside for each adult on the planet. And they will be receiving $1,200 every month for life. And school-aged children up to the age of 17 will receive $600 a month. And then when they become 17 or adults, then they get the $1,200 a month. Now, that's not going to buy you a car or a vacation on the Riviera, but it will take care of those basic needs that are so missing from so many people around the globe at this moment. And he says, this is God's mission, known as a mandate to free and unite the 7.5 billion people through this payment order. Okay, now, not only will people be supported, but there will be, all right. Now, the second one that I showed you, the debt burden relief certificate, and you know what it looks like? Believe it or not, you have no debts. And if you have incurred any debts, student loans, mortgage on a new home, paying off your car, you've paid all of that. And let me tell you how. The moment you're born, you represent a lot of money to a lot of, I don't know what to call them, but at any rate, they've been trading on your money ever since you're born. So if you've incurred a debt before 2016, which is when this went into effect, you're going to walk into the bank with that debt burden relief certificate and say, I would like a refund on everything I have paid because it has been in excess and you have used my dowry. Does that make sense? At first, you really have to, I had to hear this about 4 times. But you do not owe anything that you have been burdened with up until 2016. And it's amazing because there's a total maximum of 2 billion rupiah, which is the Indonesian currency, and they promised to make it on par with the US dollar. That'll be amazing, but that's what it says. But also they're going to do a corporate debt burden liberation up to the amount of $2 billion per corporation. Wow. And the country quota will be 138,990,000,000,000 each. And even the banks will get 138,990,000,000,000. There's also, believe it or not, a country quota. So they probably figure out, well, let's tell you what the country quota is first. It's 138,990,000,000,000 per country. Now, what is this all about? Well, we're going to give the banks so much money they'll stop ripping off the people. And the same goes with the country and the taxing of the people. That's very exciting. And of course, last but not least is the Venus Project, where the Jacques Fresco is the mastermind of this magnificent project, which represents the culmination of his life's work, the integration of the best of science and technology within a comprehensive plan for a global society based on human and environmental concern will soon be ours to enjoy. So that's the Venus Project. So, no matter what you read, keep listening to me because I keep saying things are not getting worse, they are getting uncovered. We must hold each other tight and continue to pull back the veil and see each other as we truly are. Now, every week, almost every week, we have been listening to one chapter a week of Here You Are. A recent discovered writing that Robert found on a, what is that called? Where you store things. Well, at any rate, he found it and hadn't seen it since Australia, which goes back to 2012. And now we're up to chapter 4, and the title of this is Here We Are. If we ignore what has been said so far, it is easy to see that the programs that hold our regular life in place are nothing but a series of limitations that act like cattle prods. If we get outside the limits set by the programs, we feel the sting of the prod and are forced back within the limits. Much of what we think is based on the outcome of our actions and the reaction of those who police our performance, be it family, friends, or some external authorities. The complexities that come out of this simple truth are amazing, and the pressure that is built between opposing personalities that rise out of these complexities created a world of suffering that was never meant to enter our lives. History and science have shown us the perfect way to justify everything by diagnoses and analysis, but the world we live in has been forgotten as the major part of this formula. The earth and its physical attributes are a part of our world, but not the part that ensures that we are a species belonging to an entity that works beyond the physical realms. Science and its administrators act as if they are the total authority on the workings of all things known to humanity and continue to teach humanity its limited consideration of how everything works. As extensive as this may be, it is a small drop in the ocean compared to the knowing and capability of the human entity to which we are all connected. To bring everything back into perspective, it is important to know that the human body is the most advanced of all scientific instruments. Measuring devices, indicators, and computers on this earth. Left to our own resources, we know when it's going to rain, when there is an earthquake on the way, when there is danger, when there is a problem, when the phone is about to ring, when there's a bad person in the room, what our child or friend is thinking, and many more. In addition to this, there is a mystical part to our nature that can change reality and produce physical anomalies that are not accepted by science. We are at a point where the electromagnetic field has changed in our favor, and all the abilities that were relatively unknown in society are now available for our use and enjoyment. Unlike the past, however, there is not a school for practice and learning. Each capability is natural and unique for each person, and not controlled in a way that can be described in a class or a workshop. There is an enormous amount of data that we hold for one another that can be disseminated through our field as we hold one another's attention in normal, lighthearted, and elevated conversation. In addition to this, there is another way of working that will allow you to step beyond all limitation and attract the power of humanity as your unknown ally in every adventure in your life. In the initial stages of this discovery, there will be many different responses and reactions that are not considered in any way. All logic must go out the window, and simplicity must take its place as the commander of all events. In simple terminology, if it's hard work, then you're doing it wrong. I love that last line. It's funny, I've always read there is another way before you are here, but this segue was fabulous and really delighted me. So here we go. This is chapter 4 of There Is Another Way. As we progress, it is easy to see that nothing in your world needs to be regulated by what you do or what you did yesterday. The events of your day will be driven by various needs or constraints, but your world will fit the life that you see to be yours at the beginning of each day. The program of social interaction that we often mistake as our life has often come under scrutiny, and as a result, we have an endless list of rules that have an endless number of actions and reactions to fulfill so that we are either acceptable or safe in society. This all falls into the background if you wake each day and take on the special feeling of a new day and the excitement of the future that will deliver something out of nowhere to fulfill your life. As humans, we are part of the universal human entity that is connected by many unique and individual communication systems. In the same way that we study the habits of animals living in remote locations, we can also study humans and discover that some skills are naturally transmitted even when there is no obvious connection. Our skills and our tendencies spread through some unknown network that is unique to each special species. It is not necessary to do much study to see that some people are different to others, and their nature and tendencies are consistent with their special species. Attempts to combine every species without allowing the differences to be a highlight have failed in the past. People are now delighted to show their unique skills and stand out as one of the unique species in the world. Those who are able to elevate their life every day, independent of what may be happening, are unique, and the transmission of their electromagnetic field is enough to cleanse the medium in which everyone lives. Like fresh water in a fishbowl, this makes it possible for each person to have a perfect life, perfect health, and a magic future. The combination of everyone makes up a perfect mix in the world, and every color code is represented. Your particular color is unique to you and cannot be shared with another person. It can be demonstrated, but not shared. In the same way, your life and your world can be demonstrated, but not shared. There is a place for everyone and everything. And although lives can dimensionally overlap at some stage to produce another unique entity, they are not shared in any way. It is therefore important to find the harmony of your own unique being every moment of every day so that you can experience the magic that comes with each day. It is so wonderful. Robert has been saying these words for years. And people have loved hearing him, hearing Simeon, and feeling that wonderful feeling of being special. And it is becoming very clear to me that those of you who are with us today have been with us, have never not been with us. And even though there are so many, many people who have heard previous broadcasts and are not with us, in some way, remember, and will be waking up soon, I hope. And many of those people were present at an all-day retreat that Robert held in 2011 at Ken Farber's house in Vallejo, California. We had come for a 5-month visit from Australia. And Robert got to know I think we traveled from Petaluma all the way down to almost San Diego. And he spoke so many wonderful times. And I'm so grateful that we have videos of each of those. But I'm getting back to this retreat of self-healing. And I've been reading all the tracks. We have 2 CDs, and now we're into the second CD, track 6. And just to give you a little heads up of where we left off last Sunday, Robert was saying, and all the ways you program yourself away from infinite trust. Then he spoke about how he goes for a walk in the woods, and then just being quiet. And this is where we pick up right now. And it says, by the time you have a game with the kids, it will put you back there straight away because you stop programming yourself. And you're automatically back where you were in that infinite trust, where all the things we put in there are in action. That includes your health, your whole well-being, and your sense of youth. And then someone in the background mentions a carrier wave, and Robert responds. He said, the big thing about that carrier wave, it's very complex, and it includes everything and all vibrations, and they fit together without disturbing one another and come to a single line. So that's why you don't have to tune into anything. So when you're feeling how we were when we were sitting quietly before, and I didn't really tell you much about what was happening, but you were feeling lots of love. That was because I stopped doing anything, and your heart activated in the same way as we activated your youth, so that the love was pouring out of everyone, for themselves, for the world, for every other being. And everyone was feeling the same thing coming from me. But I didn't do anything. That's the natural state. I just made sure nothing came in to disturb it. And there are a few people that might have felt me stirring the energy around them a little, but that was to make sure that nothing came in because we're used to creating a vortex around ourselves where we suck in all the junk that we've ever had, or the thoughts or the things that have gone wrong, never anything that's gone good. And we create a vortex. And as soon as there is a split-second opening, in it comes. So as I felt that coming around a few people, I just washed it away. And it's best done with your eyes. If you ever see anybody subject to a lot of interference, you can just wave it away with your eyes, and it won't disturb them. And what it is, it's a phenomenon that will go and find whoever will let it in. It will find wherever it can go in its path and holds who it is. It's just a phenomenon. And if it stops over you, it holds your junk. If it stops over someone else, it will hold their junk. Something put into the world to make it interesting. And there's a whole lot of laughter. But in fact, when you get over the junking up bit, when that sort of thing happens, you also get information. And this is why when you're working with someone, you just wait for that 1 second opening for them to accept the gift you've got for them. You might talk to them for a half hour and then poof, it opens. Poof, it goes in. And that's used for the same thing. It just sits up there, everything you need to give them, and it will go in really quickly, and then they're fine. Many times you'll sit and meditate and you won't know what's going on because nothing is happening. If that ever happens, get up and do something really active. Excite the spirit. The spirit. Play with a child. Do something crazy. Yell and jump in the air, and next thing, everything will just fall into line, and you are in that infinite trust again. Because it's one of the factors of the world that make it interesting. And you see, children get around it all the time. Even then, they're nice and quiet. All of a sudden, things get stagnant. And they get up and scream and yell out and do all sorts of things. Then they'll go down and sit down again because they can feel the movement. One of the other things that you'll get coming in on top of you is it's just hard work. Hard work without enjoyment. Mundane stuff. And you'll say, I just want to stop. As soon as you want to stop, more comes in and more comes in. And there's no way around that except stopping, being game enough to stop. Within a few minutes, you'll be back, connected, okay, and you will be able to do everything you're supposed to do in a fraction of the time. Remember, the timeline is flexible. Use it, move it, stretch it, shorten it, whatever you've got to do, and it will accommodate everything you need as long as you don't try. You just boldly walk into it. It's like if you're supposed to be somewhere at a certain time, how many times have you said, well, if I don't care what time it is, I'm going to make it? And you do. And you check back later and say, it's impossible. I could not have gotten there in that time. The time will bend for you easily. The most important thing to do is realize that in that infinite trust are components that do all this before the event. So in that trust, you know everything's okay. You don't even have to think about it. And you just walk around in that infinite trust, and you'll just be looking from a distance, saying how great everything is. And it won't be long before you won't even think about anything going wrong. It is just not a possibility anymore. And the only time that's any different for me is when I get a long sequence of people's problems. And when I get to that stage, I want to kick the roof off. I say, that's enough. And then it just goes. Or if we hang on to one another, it makes a difference. It goes quicker because that's the male-female advantage. If I'm steamed up about something, I can hang on to Barbara and it disappears through her without any effort. And if she's steamed up about something, vice versa. It just works. It's a natural phenomenon of male, female. All these things you will experience simply because of that infinite trust. So you don't have to know everything. You don't have to store anything. You don't even have to care. It's just there it is. So we're stepping on a few hot coals here that people wonder about, and they say, it's all been happening to me this way for years. All you have to do is stop. It doesn't happen to you. You do it yourself. And the only reason you do it yourself is that previously you weren't infinite trust. But now we are much more precise because we know if we look at ourselves, it's in our world. And we are the creator of our world. And we don't create rubbish. We honor everybody's effort to do exactly the same in their own pattern and honor the fact that everybody is different. And we also honor and respect the beauty of every being and what they bring to this world and to others. And the fact that sometimes we closed off too much to see the scope of what someone offers, we brand it as disturbance, where in fact, it may be the most brilliant delivery into the world you've ever seen. And David Best has once again reminded you that you've got a friend. You've got a friend. I am everywhere. I am in the trees you touch, the grass that you walk upon, the flowers that make you say, wow. I am in the fragrance of the rose, the wind that blows your name, the air that you breathe, and the sun that shines upon you. I am in the music that you hear, the food that you eat, and the water that you drink. I am in the smile on your face and the twinkle in your eye. I am in the sound of your laughter, the mischief in your words, and all the jokes ever told. I am in the joy of your heart, the excitement of a moment, and the sadness of your loss. I am in the bliss of a kiss and the touch of a hand. I am the voice of Source, speaking as the physical representation of the one energy known as Creator. I am in every question and I am every answer. I am in everything and I am in you. I am your friend, the one who only wants the best for you, the one who wants nothing in return, only your happiness and joy. I stand at the door with arms opened, celebrating you and your majesty, power and beauty, and reminding you of the perfection and harmony that exists in our union. Think of me always, and the light in you will lead the way into the new world. I am always here, and just as the song says, you just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. You've got a friend. Ain't it good to know that you've got a friend? Wow. Thank you, David. And no one is left out. No one. So thank you so much for joining me today. The next to last day of 2018. And we here at the Advancement Center is wishing you a joyous celebration tomorrow night, New Year's Eve. Or that could be any time of the day around the globe. So we're going to celebrate everyone's New Year's Eve and the rest of 2019. So I wish you perfect life, perfect health, and a really magic future. Thank you.